Thank you so much, Dr. Ramesh Mokli. Despite your busy schedule in governing 23 institutions across the country, you have spent time with us, given us valuable advice. Thank you so much. Dr. Manisha, for your enduring and charming presence. Thank you so much for your leadership. Once again, I would like to thank this audience for integrating with us. Have a wonderful day ahead and a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Introduce our Honorable Chief Guest, DrJitendra Singh ji, before he brings us his inaugural address.
Coupled with the spectacular evolution of technology of sequencing, stem cell therapy, and artificial intelligence, there has been a paradigm shift in thinking and approach towards many hereditary disorders, cancers, and non-communicable disease. In India, we are at the pinnacle of, I'm certain that these will be realized. All those of you who have come today have really contributed massively. We have this fantastic plethora of speakers amongst you who are contributing towards knowledge. The youngsters who are listening are indeed inspired in the last 4 hours, and in the next 12 hours, I'm certain they will be inspired even more. Let us lay aside the stereotypes of current thinking and develop an engaging stratagem, evolve, pursue genere, that outlines our individuality. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to VELLORE. And in the time that you spend here, be sure to explore the dimensions of our institution and spend time in cross-fertilizing your ideas to ensure that the coming year is one with immense academic promise. Once again, thank you so much, Mantriji, for attending this occasion despite your extremely busy schedule. Let's give up a standing ovation. Please stand.
Dr. Solomon Satish Kumar to formally introduce our Honorable Chief Guest, DrJitendra Singh ji, before he brings us his inaugural address.
Minister of State in the Ministry of Personal, Public Grievances and Pensions, Minister of India, and a member of the editorial board of the Journal of the Indian Medical Association. He has been a reviewer for the International. The Honorable Minister joined the Stanley Medical College, Chennai, for his undergraduate medical studies and then completed his MD in General Medicine, in addition to authoring a large number of scholarship publications, guidelines for the management of diabetes in pregnancy, chapters in medical textbooks, as well as 5 popular books on diabetes awareness. For his outstanding contribution to the field of diabetes, the Honorable Minister was presented with a lifetime
Dr. Solomon, Dr. Nihal Thomas. At the outset, I have to express my sincere apologies, though I wished and I was very keen to be there physically amongst you all. But the last moment, some unavoidable engagement held me back. And I had to go to a different part of the country from where it was not easily accessible to reach VELLORE on time, and therefore I think the best option available was to connect by whatever means available. But I'm sure I'll be able to make up for this and be there sooner than later. And I also must in particular personally apologize to Dr. Nihal, because he's been very keenly following me up for the last several weeks to be over there. And I think he lost his mind. I missed an opportunity to meet you physically. But sure, I will be there very soon. Now, this is a strange coincidence that I have a very close association with both the components associated with this program, namely the Christian Medical College Vellore, as also the Department of Biotechnology. Now, as far as the Christian Medical College is concerned, I think CMC Vellore was a part of the Madras University when I happened to be an undergraduate. So we shared the common award accreditation of the degrees. And since in those days we had a very few number of medical colleges, private colleges were hardly known. I think there were just 8 or 9 medical colleges in all, in the entire state of Madras, in Tamil Nadu. And therefore there was a lot of kinship and close collaboration among the various institutions. And the CMC, as all of us know, has inherited a rich legacy and has always been a benchmark for many other medical institutions of the country. Similarly, the Department of Biotechnology, though I am into this ministerial responsibility only for the last few years, but the fact is that as a part of my research projects, I have been associated with this department almost not less than 2.5 decades or so. So in a way, it is getting back to your roots, being a part of this program. Now, as of today, and I'm sure all of you would well know, that the Department of Biotechnology, the Government of India, represents the change of approach on the part of the political dispensation of India today, which is led by Prime Minister Modi. And it's also a departure from this kind of, shall I say, inertia of the past. Because this government has been very forthcoming as far as research innovation is concerned, also very forthcoming in following the global strategies, the global parameters. That's why now we are hugely also involved in the private sector, both in manufacturing as well as in research innovation. And that has changed the entire landscape and also perception of India across the world, because as you all know, earlier on we waited others to perform success stories, success experiments, and then tended to emulate. And always, invariably, it was a decade later happening. In whatever domain of science you spoke about, even if it was electronics, the television happened in US in 1950s. We got to see the first black and white. 70s, I know, in the state of Tamil Nadu, the first telecast of the television happened during a cricket match happening at Chepauk somewhere around 1975 or so. So that was the kind of time lapse happening, but it's no longer so. We are among the first to be in the quantum technology, and we are also among the first in the world to have rolled out a very futuristic biotechnology policy called BioE3, the biotechnology for the environment, economy, and employment. So we are now not only in the same platform as a frontline nation, but in many ways we are also offering cues for others to follow. And that's happened because of an enabling milieu which has been provided by the policy makers of the country in the current political dispensation. And therefore one can reasonably say that we are no longer followers, but in many ways we also beckon others to follow, whether it is space technology. And I think biotechnology, for that matter, has distinguished itself along in the space sector as one of the torch bearers of this frontline journey of India in the domain of science, technology, and innovation. And it has also given India an esteem overall outside the domain of science as well. The vaccine story from the Department of Biotechnology is being cited across the globe. And even today, the same department has come out successfully with a number of vaccines, of course, with the participation of the private sector, private companies, which are being supplied to as many as 200 countries of the world. So which means we are not only self-sufficiently producing for ourselves, but we are also offering this to the rest of the world. Whether it's first ever DNA vaccine for COVID, whether it's the HPV vaccine. And this department is also now credited for having come out with the first ever antibiotic indigenously termed called the azithromycin, which was not so early right from the days of penicillin down to the successive generations of penicillin. And in the same way, I think can be counted the name of the Center for Stem Cell Research, CSCR, headed by Dr. Nihal Thomas in CMC, VELLORE, which was founded again as a unit of ASTEM Bengaluru, which also happens to be affiliated to the Department of Biotechnology, and has been mandated and is performing extremely well by focusing on key areas of hematology, of regenerative medicine, oncology, immunology, ocular stem cells, etc., etc. And as was creating some of the landmark translational impact stories, including India's first in-human gene trial on hemophilia, which was of course published, also found a publication in the New Journal of Medicine, which I'm sure all of us who are a part of the medical fraternity understand what it means to get a publication in the New Journal of Medicine, which along with the British Medical Journal happens to be among the oldest medicine journals in the world. And that itself is a validation of the work done. And therefore, I'm also glad to learn that now the CSCR team is preparing for the next phase of the clinical development, and several technologies of hemoglobinopathy being transferred to commercial partners. So that is something which is also very close to this government, involving the private sector, involving it at a big scale, at a larger scale, and involving it right from the beginning to make the project viable and also make it reach those for whom it is meant. And to that extent, I think, while I assure full support to the project on behalf of the Department of Biotechnology, I must also say that we are very forthcoming as far as the private participation is concerned. The VELLORE is an interface which has been cited as a role model, which acts as an interface between the Department of Biotechnology and the private partners decides the nature of collaboration, the scale of collaboration in the entities of supervision. And thereafter, of course, it's a part of a larger ecosystem where we very recently, of course, as I mentioned, came out with a dedicated biotechnology policy, the BioE3. Then we have come out, we are among the very few countries in the world who have also put in place a National Research Foundation, where as much as about 70% of the funding and the resource is from the non-government entities, and very recently a 1 lakh crore R&D fund to incentivize the private sector. So to that extent, the kind of work which is being done in CMC VELLORE is actually aligned to the priorities and the agendas of the department with which this project is associated with, namely the Department of Biotechnology. At the same time, I must also compliment, because I believe I have to also be part of the formal inauguration of the new block of the Mental Health Care Center as Department of Psychiatry. I wish I could be there, but nevertheless, even if it is done virtually, I have to compliment you because the Mental Health Care Center in CMC VELLORE, I can say out of my experience in the School of Medicine is one of the earliest. I think it was instituted somewhere in 1950, when there were very few psychiatry departments in the country. And in fact, the irony was that very few students chose to take up psychiatry as a medium of study. And I have also seen those days used to have a diploma in psychiatry, then of course they thought every psychiatrist started. We would not get a student taking up these courses. They would wait for the next year because they said if we go in for a degree, we will be known as a madman's doctor. So the entire landscape has changed. So it's a very futuristic approach on the part of CMC to be among the first. And I believe the new center, the new block, which is set to be inaugurated today, will also be providing low-cost private ward facility, which of course, as all of us know, the psychiatry patients are sometimes hospitalized for an uncertain span of time, depending on their condition and also various other factors. So I'm sure this is going to be a great service, not only to the patient, but also to the attendants and the society at large. And therefore, I think over the last few years, the Department of Biotechnology and the science and technology in India is rather going through one of the better times. It was virtually undergone a resurgence. And whether it's any stream, so I'm not going to get into the detail of that because the list will be very long, but as far as my economy per se is concerned, in 2014 we were just about 10 billion US dollars. Today we are close to 200 billion, almost 170 billion, and by 2030 we hope to be 300 billion. So which means that not only there's a progressive increase, but the pace of increase is also increasing. Our biomanufacturing ranking is third easiest recipe difference in the world. Some of our cost-effective gadgets, instruments, including ones from some of the institutes from India, are now of the export quality. Our pharma exports today stand at about 27.8 billion US dollars and hope to be 30 billion dollars by the turn of this year. And of course, our bio startups were just 50 of them registered, which is rather embarrassing. 2014, now we are over 11,000, and some of them have the world potential. And our medical tech sector also is showing an annual growth of 15 to 20%. Which is indicating from the fact that even though we are just about 12 billion US dollars today, we hope to, the projection indicates that we will be by 50 US dollars by the year 2030. And as all of you know, the Global Innovation Index only last week touched rank 38, which was just 81 before this government came. Our patent filing has increased, and what is more important is that more than 55% of the patents are Indian residents. So on the one hand, the government is trying to give as much of support possible from the government side, like for example the DBT budget, the Partner Biotechnology budget, which was just about 1,500 crore 10 years back, is now more than 6,000, almost 7,000 crore. But at the same time, supplementation comes usually from the private sector. Our DRD has doubled from about 60,000 crore to 1,27,000 crore. And therefore, I can say with confidence the CMC, VELLORE, and other such institutions become a part of this larger, the wholesome ecosystem, representing whole of science, whole of government, and of course whole of society. And therefore, bio sector of India is hugely contributing also to the flagship priorities of Prime Minister Modi by making India self-reliant, or as they popularly say, Atmanirbhar Bharat, also making indigenous innovations, manufacturing, which means make in India, and also growing within India or by Indians what is relevant for the rest of the world as well. It will be fascinating to share that even the very recent India, the International Space Station expedition, where one of our astronauts, Shubhashi Shukla, had to be a part of the group, was providing kits to perform experiments which are being provided by the same department. They also dealt hugely with the medical science. There was one set of kits dealing with the life sciences, the biogenesis, etc. The other set dealing with the cognitive impact of constant use of electronic gadgets. And the results of these experiments which are being worked out will be available to the rest of the world as well, which means the Vishwabantu Bharat, which is another popular mantra of this government also. So you can understand this ecosystem is really up to 3-4 priority programs or priority ideals of the dispensation today. And to that extent, all of us as a part of this ecosystem are contributing to the making of a healthy Viksit Bharat. When we talk of India 2047, I think there is no disagreement with the fact that unless we are able to ensure the health of the citizens of 2047, we would not be able to achieve the rest of the goals. So, and that is precisely what is being sought to be achieved through affordable self-development.
Our nation's mountains sends the college we all